All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we've got one of the wildest insurance scams I think I've ever heard of. Seriously. It's a story that involves some seriously high-end cars and, a bear. Or was it?
Okay, let's just imagine for a second you need to get your hands on, say, $142,000 from an insurance company. That's a lot of cash. So, what's your master plan? What's the scheme? Well, for a few folks out in California, the answer was, get this, a bear suit. No, I'm not kidding. Step one in their big, elaborate plan, go out and buy a full-on, head-to-toe bear costume.
So let's dive into how this all kicked off. It started with a pretty incredible claim. A wild bear apparently decided to attack a Rolls-Royce.
So the date is January 28th, 2024. A claim pops up from Lake Arrowhead, California, and the story is that a wild bear just went to town on a luxury car. Now, to be fair, Lake Arrowhead is bear country, so it's not totally out of the realm of possibility, but still, it sounds pretty dramatic, right?
But here's where it gets even weirder. Investigators quickly realized it wasn't just one car. This bear apparently had a taste for the finer things in life. First, it was a 2010 Rolls-Royce Ghost. Then, two more claims came in for the exact same day from the same place. One for a 2015 Mercedes G63 AMG and another for a 2022 Mercedes E350. I mean, come on. One bear, three luxury cars, all in one go. Something's fishy.
Yeah, three high-end cars supposedly mauled by the same bear on the same day? That's gonna raise some eyebrows. And believe me, it did. The investigation was on.
And you know who we have to thank for blowing this whole thing wide open? A single, sharp-eyed insurance analyst. They just had a feeling, that gut instinct that something wasn't quite right. They flagged the claim, and boom, just like that, this weird animal story turned into a criminal investigation.
And honestly, this is my favorite part. The scammers handed over the evidence themselves. They actually submitted security camera footage of the quote-unquote bear inside the cars, plus pictures of all the scratch marks. They thought they were sealing the deal, but what they were really doing was handing the investigators everything they needed to bust them. I mean, they had video, they had photos. What could possibly go wrong for them? Well, as investigators started to look a little closer at that footage, they noticed something was off, really off.
Okay, and this is the moment where the whole house of cards comes tumbling down. It was time to find out who was really in that bear suit.
So the Department of Insurance calls in the big guns, a real biologist from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. This person knows bears. And after they take one look at the video, the verdict is in. And I quote, "The thing in the video was clearly a human in a bear suit. Busted." And if that expert opinion wasn't damning enough, this next part is just perfect. When the cops executed a search warrant on the suspect's home, what do you think they found? Yep, the bear suit. Case closed.
So, with the scheme totally exposed and the evidence piled high, it was time for the consequences. And things moved pretty fast from there. The claims were filed back in January 2024. By November of that same year, 4 suspects were in cuffs. Fast forward to April 2026, and 3 of them had already been sentenced. And we're not talking about a slap on the wrist here. You can see Alfia Zuckerman, Ruben Temrazian, and Vahe Murat Kanyan all got 180 days in jail. And on top of that, they have to pay back a ton of money. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars each in restitution. And the story isn't totally over. There's still a 4th person involved, Ararat Shirkinyan, who's waiting for their hearing. So the legal drama from this whole bear suit fiasco is still playing out. Look, I know, it's a hilarious story, right? A guy in a bear suit, a Rolls-Royce, it sounds like a bad movie plot. But why should any of us care about this weird little scam? What's the bigger picture? Well, first, let's just look at that number again. $142,000. This wasn't some harmless prank. This was a serious crime with a lot of money on the line. And here's the real kicker, something the California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara made very clear. This is not a victimless crime. When insurance companies have to pay out on fraudulent claims, guess where they get that money back from? Us. Our premiums go up. So yeah, a goofy scam like this actually ends up hitting all of us right in the wallet. So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The next time you hear one of those unbelievable, no way that happened stories, it's worth asking yourself, Is this really just a crazy random event? Or is there maybe, just maybe, somebody in a bear suit pulling the strings behind the scenes? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.